The waiting period until GTA 6 releases has shrunken down to 9 months, which means we're in the single digits now, and while that's still a lot of time, at least we can take solace in the fact that it has been a very eventful couple of months so far in 2026.
I miss GTA in that.
You're right, switch sides, mate. Yeah. Which GTA? What are you talking about, Robert?
6.
Oh, you got ages for that.
I'm gonna get life.
With tons of new GTA 6 info coming out just recently. We've seen the Rockstar North studio explode, causing a bit of a fiery situation in the office. We've got leaked Discord messages from former Rockstar employees talking about GTA 6's online multiplayer mode. There was also that really wholesome moment where a fan with terminal cancer got to live everyone's dream by playing a copy of GTA 6 early, and that's just some of the info that we'll be discussing in today's combined GTA 6 monthly news recap for January and February, and so you might want to stick around until the end because I think we've got some pretty official confirmation on that November 19th release date later this year, thanks to Take-Two's recent investor call. If you find this info helpful or entertaining, consider subscribing and sharing this video with all of your friends who are excited for the game. Let's kick things off with some top secret technical details about GTA 6's online multiplayer. So, as you guys might know by now, last November, Rockstar fired 31 employees for gross misconduct as they breached their NDAs as well as Rockstar's internal policies regarding confidentiality by allegedly leaking sensitive info in an unsecured Discord server. What you may not know is that those 31 employees weren't the only ones fired. Rather, they were just the ones working at the Edinburgh and London studios, and at the same time, between late October and early November, Rockstar also fired 3 other employees from their Canadian studio, citing the same breach of confidentiality, and earlier in 2025 during April, they even fired a Rockstar Lincoln employee for leaking certain details to a third party that would later make their way onto social media. Some of the more eagle-eyed viewers among you will remember that the April 2025 firing is just a couple months prior to the leaks posted by GameRoll in June via a now deleted tweet where he talks about the return of a 6-star wanted level and the carryover mechanics from RDR2 like Honor, which apparently will function as a relationship meter between Jason and Lucia. More importantly though, GameRoll mentions that his source for these leaked mechanics is the same one that told him the last names of both Jason and Lucia back in, you guessed it, April. Prior to trailer 2 in May 2025, nobody knew that Jason's last name was Duval and that Lucia's last name was Caminos. In fact, GameRoll was the only person with this info, and he stated his source for this insider info was the friend of a Rockstar employee. Was this the same Rockstar Lincoln employee who got fired? Hard to tell for absolute sure, but the timelines do match up well here. Moving back to the current timeline though, let's talk about the ongoing court case between the Independent Workers Union of Great Britain and Rockstar, where the company is being accused of union busting tactics. And there is certainly some reason to suspect this here because every single one of those 31 people fired last November were union members, and that's why so many fans were up in arms about it, with several of them claiming that they'd boycott GTA 6 when it releases. However, there are always two sides to a story, and in some of the recently released evidence provided by Rockstar's legal team during the preliminary hearings, we got our first glimpse at what appears to be an exchange on Discord between 2 former Rockstar UK employees. There is no digital copy of these highly secretive court documents, so I'm simply referring to the reporting done by Chris Bratt of People Make Games, and you can actually watch the full video over on their channel where they examine the hard copy. But here's the interesting part. In one of the several pages of Discord chat messages provided by Rockstar as proof of the employee's gross misconduct, there's one message that looks like a reply to a question from another employee, and it says, "Absolutely no idea. They mentioned the large session we did today being difficult to do, but that was 32 players. Not sure how that was difficult." This message was sent on the 16th of October 2025 at 5:38 p.m. and about an hour later, a different employee responds to it by saying, "Sounds like you have multiple studios of QA testers. Surely someone can manage to organize a 32-player session and let people have their time off." I'm not going to talk about all the intricacies of the actual legal proceedings here or what this means for the fired employees. My heart definitely goes out to anyone laid off as a result of this whole fiasco, and I hope they're compensated for their time, but I'd like to focus on the specific wording of these leaked messages right here, because 32 players in a session is exactly what we have right now as our max lobby capacity in GTA 5 Online, and I find it hard to believe that Rockstar, with all this new tech that they've developed over the last decade, is choosing to stick with that very same number for GTA 6. Especially when you consider the fact that based on community mapping projects like Yanis, Leonida State is looking like it will be significantly larger than Los Santos, and having the same number of total players in a session as GTA 5 would result in some pretty empty looking spaces. Instead, and this is just my opinion here, I think that the difficult 32-player session being talked about in the court documents is simply a limitation caused by the number of QA testers they had available in the team at that time, and not an actual hard cap within the framework of GTA 6's online mode. Alternatively, that particular test could have also been part of a multi-lobby session where you have a map that's split into different grid squares, each with its own group of 32 players. And as soon as you physically transition from the boundary layer of one zone to the next, you seamlessly load into a different lobby within that very same map or session, utilizing the super fast storage of current gen consoles. We already know that this is possible because Rockstar San Diego literally has a patent detailing how this loading process works, and I won't bore you with the details, but we've also seen something similar in Forza, and I believe that GTA 6's version of this same tech is going to be even more seamless and revolutionary. Now, if these messages were indeed being thrown around on public Discord servers, it could explain why some of these employees got fired. It still doesn't give us the full picture though, because this is only 2 employees out of 34, but Rockstar also sent statements to IGN specifying that it detected over 25 non-union members in the Discord channel, where these messages containing highly technical info were shared, including employees of competing game studios as well as a video games industry journalist and various anonymous accounts. Unfortunately for Rockstar, it seems like their legal troubles with the union aren't the only thing haunting them at this moment, because the infrastructure over at the Edinburgh HQ is literally crumbling under their feet, as there was a massive boiler explosion on the 19th of January, causing 7 fire and rescue service vehicles to arrive on scene. Fortunately, there was no major fire situation, although reports suggest that the building sustained some structural damage. It doesn't say what kind of structural damage, but we do know that this isn't going to cause any further delays itself, and the building returned to full operational capacity soon afterwards, with no casualties reported, thankfully. So, apart from a few temporary issues with office heating in the middle of winter, it sounds like it's no big deal. Also, a lot more of the clickbaity news outlets ran with this story of a major explosion at Rockstar HQ, almost making it seem like some kind of bomb went off in the office, and a lot of folks began to think that GTA 6 would be delayed yet again. But honestly, I think we need to put away those memes for now, because to be honest, they've gotten a bit stale at this point, and the Rockstar HQ is definitely moving full steam ahead, gearing up for that November 19th release date. On a more touching note though, on January the 18th, there was this story about a GTA fan with terminal cancer who got to play his favorite game several months before the official release date. Now, we don't know the name of this fan or his age, but we do know that he's based out of Oakville, Toronto, and that he lives near the Rockstar studio over there because Anthony Armstrong, one of his family members, who currently works as a UI integrator at Ubisoft, put out this request on social media where he asks his contacts at Rockstar Games if they can set up an exclusive playtest for the patient who's currently battling late-stage terminal cancer, and the doctor has only given him 6 to 12 months left to live, so he might not make it until the official GTA 6 release date in November. Fortunately for the fan as well as his family, not only did Rockstar grant his wish, but he was contacted by Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick himself, which is just awesome to hear. And honestly, huge respect to Rockstar for granting this person's wish to play GTA 6. Among other news, it seems like Sony has a pretty good idea of exactly how far GTA 6 has progressed down the development pipeline, because they've got their own first-party exclusive, Wolverine, slated to release on September the 15th of this year, and this news came out of nowhere via a social media post from Insomniac just a few days ago, but it seems very likely that this was all planned out well before alongside Sony, who'd taken GTA 6's release window into consideration so these two games don't clash against each other. And if that isn't enough to convince you that GTA 6 will in fact release this November, how about this? Earlier this February, Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick participated in an earnings call for the third fiscal quarter of 2026. And in this call, he talks about how awesome fiscal year 2027 is going to be, building on the back of GTA 6's launch, but more importantly, he states that the full-on launch marketing for GTA 6 is set to begin, and I quote, this summer, aka somewhere around late June, early July, which might also be when we get that mythical third trailer. For those of you who don't get the implications of this announcement, it basically means that unless Take-Two is absolutely positive that the game is coming out in November, they won't sign off on spending tens of millions of dollars on an extensive marketing campaign, which involves social media ads, physical ads, live events, new trailers, etc. And while Strauss also stated that he was confident about GTA 6's release date last year, before it was delayed yet again, he never mentioned anything about marketing last year. This is the first earnings call where he has brought up the pre-release marketing campaign, and Strauss reiterates this fact in an interview he did for CNBC where he literally says, and I quote, "We don't spend money on marketing until we're pretty close to release."
How do you know? How do you know it's going to be ready that day?
Well, because we actually obviously track the progress daily of everything that we do. And we also announce that we have marketing beats coming this summer, and we don't spend money on marketing until we're pretty close to release.
So it's not just some empty corpo speak this time. Take-Two's money is on the line here, so they can't afford to waste $100 million or more on marketing for a game that will be delayed yet again, and that makes me pretty confident that yes, November 19th is indeed the day on which GTA 6 will be released. However, there is still one rumor circulating on the internet right now, and this might be a disappointment for fans of physical media who are looking forward to playing a physical copy of GTA 6 on release day, because a certain Polish gaming news outlet by the name of PPE recently published an article about the lack of physical GTA 6 copies on release day. Their source is a trusted leaker by the name of Grastari. Sorry if I'm butchering the pronunciation here, but what you need to know is that this guy's always been right on the money. Case in point, he's the same person who leaked that Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 was coming to PlayStation 5. He also got the release date right for Sonic Race and Cross Worlds on a Nintendo Switch 2, so it lends some credibility to his claims when he says that Rockstar isn't planning on a physical release for GTA 6 due to concerns over leaks. And it's certainly plausible here, given how often big-name games often get leaked prior to their release date due to people breaking into a warehouse and stealing physical copies, or sometimes they even get the copies from a friend of a friend who knows a guy working at the retail store. We've already seen this happen with Assassin's Creed Shadows, where the physical copy got leaked and people were posting gameplay clips weeks before release day. We've seen this happen with Resident Evil Requiem just days ago. It even happened with Red Dead Redemption 2 back in 2018, when Rockstar was desperately swatting down videos on YouTube and Reddit showing gameplay an entire week before release day. Same thing happened with The Last of Us 2, although in that case it started with a leak from some internal company server, and only later did physical copies get in the hands of people on the black market. Take-Two has denied such claims, and they say they'll have physical copies day one, but I want to know what kind of physical copies that we're talking about here. Is it the Nintendo kind where you get a box with a piece of paper on the inside that has the game key and download link? Or is it going to be like Fallout 76 where you get a disc case with a fake cardboard disc inside where you then have to go to the website and redeem the game code? Because at that point, you might as well just make it digital only for the first month if you're that paranoid about leakers. Or maybe Rockstar could do it like other modern games where you only get half of the game on the disc and you have to download the rest. I guess we'll find out what's going to happen here on release day. One thing's for sure though, GTA 6 is going to be the most ambitious project Rockstar has ever undertaken, and Strauss Zelnick has stated that it will contain zero generative AI, as Rockstar values real human art and handcrafted environments over whatever an AI can churn out. And this tells us that despite their various failings, Take-Two still has a really good understanding of exactly what their customers and players desire, and Strauss repeated this when one of the investors brought up Google Genie and asked Strauss about his thoughts on how something like that compares to a proprietary game engine made by Rockstar. But with all that said, that's all I have for today's GTA 6 news to report. I'm going to be making even more of these in the coming weeks, so go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I suspect we'll be getting even more GTA 6 news as Rockstar ramps up their marketing efforts leading into June and July. And I think we've got some truly exciting information to look forward to during these next coming months here as well. As always, drop a like if you enjoyed this video and found it informative, subscribe to the channel if you are new, check me out over on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram, specifically twitch.tv/hazardoushdtv, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next GTA 6 video. Adios amigos.